Oh, wow. Wow.
Welcome everybody,
It's your boy Couch Guard.
and I'm RJ, and we are the Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now, if you like one of those things, or all of those things, why don't you consider like, subscribing, and hit that notification bell, and become a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, this is a Moon Knight coffee talk. As of shooting this video, there's 2 episodes out. And we're happen to be watchers. For me personally, I never liked Moon Knight. I ain't gonna say I never liked him, but he was never my go-to character to read. But I did like him when he showed up in other comics. So when the show was announced and when it was coming, I wasn't excited to watch it. But the things that they did with this show is actually forming out to be a good show so far. So we just wanted to talk about it since we're both up to date watching it right now, right?
Yeah, it's not always that we are up to date on the same show, so the fact that we are, this works out perfect for providing great nerdy content to all the fellow boosters out there. Leave a like on this video and comment down below how you feel about the Moon Knight series so far, and how did you feel about the first 2 episodes. Me personally, I know nothing of the character. He just got the big M on his name, so I'm rocking with it. M for Marvel, not for Moon Knight. So I'm just gonna rock with him and see what's going on. From what I could tell, the gentleman has split personalities. So from what I understand about the character, he has split personalities. I wanted to ask RJ, is each person, from what I understand, there's 3 of them. Can each one of them tap into the Moon Knight, or is it just Mark Spector? Now, a little bit I've noticed in the show, Stephen Grant was able to pull off the Mr. Knight,
the Mr. Knight
suit.
persona.
So that's why I asked that. Is each personality able to tap into the Moon Knight Khonshu power?
See, yeah, the thing is, depending on the personality, right, and the situation that they're in, if one of them don't know about each other or who is gonna become Moon Knight, Khonshu is gonna take over and do it.
Okay, I got you. Now, this, from what I understand, is a whole different realm from Marvel, as far as like the gods in the different pantheons and everything like that.
They're real.
That's a word.
They're real in that world.
That was a word I was just put on. Pantheon. Yeah, so
I'm not even gonna judge my dude. I'm not gonna judge my dude.
But so basically, Khonshu, from what I understand, is a god who is slightly, I think, banished by the other gods right now. So he's trying to, from what I understand, get back in their good graces. So that's why he's doing what he's doing. The main antagonist in the show, from what I can tell, is played by Ethan Hawke. I can't remember that guy's name that he's playing.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But he's basically an avatar for the god Amit. Am I saying the name right? Amit. Apparently, Amit is a god who can tell if you've done wrong or are going to do wrong. And that
Minority Report style.
That God judges you according to that. So even if you haven't done anything up to date, if it knows that you're going to do some evil, it's going to take you out the game early. From what I understand, Khonshu is against that. That's not his form of judgment. He don't think that form of judgment is fair. So they are, from what I can tell, only 2 episodes in, they're trying to stop the resurrection of Amit. And that's what Moon Knight is dealing with in the show. Ethan Hawke's character is an avatar for Amit, just like Moon Knight is an avatar for Khonshu. So they're butting heads. They butted heads in the 2nd episode. I want to say this is a spoiler, coffee talk. So
but we come to find out that he used to be Moon Knight.
He used to be under Khonshu.
And
and apparently like I said, I don't know anything about the character, so I don't know what they're doing, if it's already in the comics or if they're doing it for the show. I'm going to defer to RJ for that kind of information. But from what I could tell, Mark Spector doesn't really want to do the Moon Knight thing no more.
Right.
He's looking for a way out to where Khonshu doesn't go after his old lady once he leaves.
Yeah.
Because Khonshu said it. He even said it like, you already know who I'm going for if you dip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He did say that.
He did say that. So I definitely love the CGI or the graphics for the Khonshu character. I love the Moon Knight outfit.
Mm-hmm.
They debuted it at the end of the first episode, and we saw it again in episode 2 along with the Mr. Knight suit, which was nice.
Yes, it was tailored. Yo,
Nice.
Did you see the engravings of like the designs that was inside of it, bro?
I peeped that. Them little sticks that he didn't use them when he was fighting, but that's not for the show. Like Mr. Knight has those, right?
Yeah. He's a capable fighter.
So my thing is, I didn't understand. They explained it a little bit in the show, but I guess the personality that's in control, that taps into the Khonshu power, controls what the suit actually looks like.
Yeah.
So that's how that Mr. Knight suit even came about, because Stephen Grant was in control of the body at that point. And so when they were saying, hey, summon the suit.
Yeah, that's what he thought of.
He thought of that because that's what he
thought
thinks
of
the suit looks
solid
like.
suit.
He's not aware of the other suit that Spectre pulls out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's dope. Now there is a third personality, right? We haven't been introduced to him yet.
Yeah, Jack.
But the two that we have been, they're completely different people. Stephen Grant is British librarian, I think. He works at a museum.
Yeah, he works at a museum.
And Mark Spector is supposed to be this hotshot mercenary that's full of cash.
Yeah.
And he's married apparently as well to a hot piece.
Yeah, she's attractive.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, that's what I gathered so far. And so far I'm into it. Like I said, I don't know nothing about the character, but I'm into what they're doing so far. The show, the graphics and the CGI and the action. And, yeah, I'm into it. I hate that they're only like 40 minutes long, something like that. They're not even that long, you bastards. It is what it is.
Yeah.
At least I get an episode every week, right?
Yeah. But you know what I'm liking from it? Alright, so Moon Knight, from what I know about Moon Knight, in my reading of the comics, right? I haven't been inundated with Moon Knight himself, but he has showed up in other titles that I've read. He's always been a part of a team at some sort, or he was teamed up with another character, right? Mm-hmm. He'll probably team up with Daredevil. He might team up with Spider-Man. He might team up with Iron Fist. You know what I'm saying? He might team up with Doctor Strange, right? And the thing about him teaming up, he might team up with the Avengers at one point, but with him teaming up, right? He has his multiple personality disorder, and when he has his disorder, sometimes he switches in the middle of, like, someone says, give me control, right? And they show it in the show. One of the personalities give me control, or they end up building a relationship with all three of one another depending on the circumstances, right? Or we as the reader see the transition of the multiple personalities. Sometimes they might show him, like in the show, him having conversations with Khonshu about what's going on. Khonshu, just like this show, is a difficult entity. Not really Maleficent and I ain't gonna say nice. He's not Maleficent. Y'all know the word I'm trying to say. Yeah. But he's not really nice. He usually is aggravated, and being an aggravation to one of the personalities that he needs to talk
I got
to.
that. I picked up on that.
So they're showing good attributes from the comics. One thing that I love so far in the first episode, though, instead of us as readers or seeing the transition happening, we're getting it from the personality's point of view, especially, but we're following Steven in the show. So when he goes to the cult at the first time, right, and he wakes up and he beat up all those dudes, and he didn't know how he did it. That's just a different aspect of, like, oh, we're following him and he doesn't know what's going on. So we're also lost with them.
With him.
Yeah, going through the situation. And the other one like talking to him like, give me control, give me control. And then he fall out the car, but Khonshu is keeping his body alive. Like there's so many things like about it. And another thing from the comics to the show is from the comics, he's actually just a regular skilled dude, closer to Batman. But here they're making him have mystical powers.
What mystical powers he have?
For example, I mean, he's just more agile, a little bit stronger, able to, he's just doing.
I mean, I've only seen him fight them the scarab thing.
Yes, and he's fighting those.
That's the only thing he's really fought. He hasn't really.
But he has like enhanced strength and all of that. But
yeah, I can believe. I seen the enhanced strength when he punched that one, and how he messed up that bathroom in the beginning of the end of the first one.
But as a regular dude, I mean, he's just a regular dude. He's skillful. Mark Spector, that he's a mercenary. That was right. Yeah. But I wonder moving forward, if they're gonna get into his backstory and whatnot.
I hope so. I mean, give us a little depth on the character.
Yeah, where it came
how
from.
He came to become Khonshu's avatar. I think they go. I hope they tap on that soon because that's what we want to know.
But as of right now, as the show's going on, we love it.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah,
we love it. Yeah, like I said, Marvel coming with it.
Yeah,
man. I definitely. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping that, if not this next episode, at least episode 4 or something like that, they explain. And I think they're gonna do it in episode 3 from what I've seen.
Hey, that conclusion though in episode 2 that he woke up in Egypt.
Yeah,
like that's a big cliffhanger.
Looking at Stephen Grant in the mirror.
Yeah,
that was Stephen in the mirror, and that was Mark on the edge of the bed with the bottle. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I liked how in the beginning, like the first episode, when he was like running, when he was driving that car, and he was so scared. They'll just transition and he'll beat up all the dudes and then he'll be back to being Steven behind the wheel.
Yes!
Like,
what happened?
Like, what happened?
I'm great.
Bro, I was like, okay. That got me in.
Yeah.
That got me in. I was like, okay. Hey man, listen, I like the show. I'm looking forward. They come out every Wednesday.
Yeah,
Is it every Wednesday?
So new episode tomorrow.
New episode tomorrow. This is Tuesday,
for
3 o'clock for us that we're shooting this. So by the time y'all see this video, the episode 3 may have already dropped.
Yeah.
So definitely leave a comment down below how you feel about episode 3. If we get enough comments, we're gonna make a video about episode 3. So let us know how you feel.
My other alter ego is going to, or me, I guess I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm just making sure that I am who I am. Is going to talk to you about episode 3 and 4. Because we didn't get a chance to talk about it, and surprisingly enough, I'm definitely liking the show so far. And we end off on episode 2 with Mark on top of the rooftops in whatever city that they're in. I'm not too sure. Cairo. They're in Cairo, and he's doing this chase scene with some of the Amet's Harrow's crew, and then we get to this fight scene, and he's practicing restraint within this fight scene on top of these rooftops. And in this fight scene, he's fighting the urge along with Steven, who's talking to him, to not use extra violence, to not hurt these people. He slaps this one kid instead of punch him in the face. He's not slitting throats, and we get further along in the chase, and he kills the majority of the dudes, and one of the personalities did that. So it still is like not confirmed, but moving on into episode 4, we might find out that there's a third personality, because between that switch of him killing those dudes, there was him being shocked that it happened, and Steven didn't say that it happened, or Khonshu didn't say that it happened. But he goes on this chase, and when he goes on this chase, he meets up with the kid that he decided to spare, and then the kid has the scarf. He cuts the scarf and falls to his death, and that was traumatizing or traumatic to Mark in the moment. And I'm just going to streamline a lot of the points of episode 3. And the thing that happened, they were on this quest of finding a map. They have the information of the map of the Scarab, and with them, they everybody is at the secretive site, or the excavation site, trying to find it, right? But Mark and Layla are already in another place, and Layla and Steve are getting close, right? They together on this adventure, so they're getting close. Well, one thing that I'm just trying to hurry up and get to is that we see the actor who just recently died, cologne commercials, and he was also young Hannibal Lecter, and he recently passed away. And I don't know those events for him to have passed, but this episode was dedicated to him. And in the episode, I think he's like a blacklist, kind of individual. I don't know too much of the lore about Moon Knight, but from what I was told, that he was supposed to be eventually his arch nemesis. I don't know if there were any hints of that laid out within this episode, but we see that we have Layla. She's wearing this necklace, right? This Egyptian necklace. And it's a gun on the wall. It's something that's very important to the episode. And it's basically this sarcophagus, and finding the sarcophagus is going to unleash Amet. I don't know. I gotta talk to my Kemetic brothers, my people in the Kemetic community about this Egyptology. I'm not well versed in it. But there are the 32 laws of Mayat in the Iliad. That hasn't been brought up just yet. But there is also something that is very unique in this show, is that the Egyptian gods show up, and they also have their avatars. And there's just a lot of information provided in the scene. It seems that with the goddess of love, that she had some type of relationship or friendship, kinship, something, situationship tied with Khonshu. She used to, mellow his mood, whatever that may be. But they were tied together in some way. And the Avatar also has some type of empathy towards Mark for being in the situation as well. And they have trial. And Khonshu is speaking through Mark, and him speaking through Mark was very dramatic scene, because he was definitely taking him over, and it looked like it was kind of aggravating and painful, and a lot of tension while he is talking so violently and emotional. It was very dramatic. But yeah, that was one of the things for him trying to plead his case, saying that Arthur Harrow was a villain, and he has a diabolical plot, and he's going to be the end of the world, and we can't trust him. But then he comes through, and he's like, what aboutism? What about this? What about that? He was just spinning it, and he just stayed cool the entire time. And it was like, Khonshu's the real bad guy over here. And then they end up trapping Khonshu inside of this statue. And then that leads to dun dun dun. What's Mark gonna do without the powers? Also, I didn't get to bring out that there was that great fight when they met the guy, right? The blacklist forger curator guy, right? Moon Knight, Mark Spector costume get to come out, and also Mr. Knight comes out briefly. But it was just cool to see that fight, and he used the cape and it tosses the bullets back, and Layla got to do some fighting. She rams her knee, and the necklace comes off, and he stabs dude. It was great. It was a great action sequence. Mr. Knight gets stabbed up with spears, made it very useless for him, why did you even show up? But at the same time, these guys was rocking with Khonshu power, so he basically, came out unscathed. And then they find out, which was crazy, because the trial was going on while he was about to be trapped, right in the statue. Khonshu was gonna be trapped in the statue, and the one thing that happened was that they found the map that was shaped like a star, and the star is like an amulet slash like representation of like the balance of life and death inside the Egyptian mythology. So it was cool that they had that map, and with the map and him or Steven and Khonshu reverse like the star patterns. It was an amazing shot to get the star alignment of when I don't know, the alligator monster, the alligator god was trapped, right? So they were trying to recreate that, right? Which was so cool. And then he faints, and Khonshu is trapped. And then that's like a dun dun dun. That's where they leave us, and Steven or Mark is fainted out, right? So then that leads us in the beginning of episode 4, where it leaves off just like from that point, right? And from that point, Layla, Mark is getting shot at, and he doesn't know what's going on, or he's knocked out. So she's dragging this man's body, and with her dragging that man's body, right? I just heard my neighbor screaming. It sounded very upsetting. Yeah, so that took me out. Back to this video. So anywho, she's like, wake up, and the dude's just shooting, and she gets behind the car. But I really want to get to the point. There's a lot of things to unpack in episode 4. And episode 4 was that peak moment, right? In a three act. When it comes to a 3-act structure of writing piece, right? This was that highlight, before everything winds down to get to the 3rd act. And there's so much that happened in episode 4. First of all, I loved episode 4 so much because it had a very Indiana Jones, National Treasure kind of story feel, while this mystery unravels and they're actually doing some tomb raiding. And then, certain things that happened where it got really dark, you saw that it was actual guts preparing for mummification, and like we have the archaeological evidence of how they did that. They was ripping out guts, they had tools, taking out guts through the nose, throughout the throat, and putting it in jars, and they had that there. They also saw bones of dead people. Then you see this random dude comes out, this random man, you never saw him before, and he's like tortured and messed up, and you're like, what is going on? Who is this? What is this about? Then like they split up. Layla, right? She's fighting a mummy guard. So with that, for me, that's like the MCU. The Living Dead is a real thing, right? So that brings more credence to have Blade and whatever else go bump in the night if you got these real life mummies going around. It was a great fight. It had a lot of tension how it was filmed with very little lighting. Knowing that she got sucked up within the cave, in the cavern of the cave. You got this monster that she's dealing with. The monster was trying to kill her with its own bone. Everything about that scene was intense, suspenseful, choreographed real well. I loved it very much. The biggest thing, we ended up having Mark finding Steven and or Mark, one of the two, one in the same. They end up finding the sarcophagus to Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was one of I like Alexander the Great. I have no problem with his sexual preference. Just the fact of his ambition, all within a young age. And I'm pretty sure that he conquered 70% of the known world at the time. He was about to do 90. He was about to do 90 till he passed. So that was a thing. But with all that being said, right, my guy, we found out that he was an avatar and or tongue, a talking piece for Ammit. I don't know the death god, right? So we find that out. We find out, Stephen is like Macedonian writing on this Egyptian sarcophagus. What is this? I found it totally fascinating. That is great for the legend and myth and putting it incorporated with, you know, the real world, you know? Because Alexandria, which was in Egypt, or is in Egypt, I don't know if it's still a city, but it was based off of him being infatuated with that area. The bad guys come, they have a very, Layla, I didn't even say this, Layla and Harold have this conversation that he's like, look, you need to know the truth, and the truth really is that Mark killed your dad, and you helping out the wrong side, and the very good villain. Ethan Hawke is killing it so well in this show. And it's like, this is why he's a successful working actor, right? He's just, I always liked him. I always have. But this is really making me more of a fan of him portraying this role, being this religious cult leader zealot. I'm loving it. And I'm loving his performance and his nuances and the characterization of what he's doing. But she's shattered. Her world is shattered, and she's just trying to confirm like what just happened. So that was a very detailed and impactful conversation. Mark, he finds all this out, and Harold comes and shows up at Alexander's tomb, shoots him. Now this is where something totally different happens, a big shift within the whole show. What happens, boom, boom, 2 shots in the chest, and Khonshu's not there, so he dies, right? And then what happens is he wakes up in a mental ward, and I'm thinking like, nah, word? Like, did they just Wizard of Oz this whole joint? Like, it was just a dream? You know what I'm saying? Like, all of it. That's what I was really thinking. Like, this is just a dream? Like, and I'm like, And then I'm thinking, all right, so the last 2 episodes is him trying to reconcile with his sanity. I'm like, if this was just a dream, I wouldn't have been mad. But I'm like, that is crazy, subverting expectations. If that really was the case of this just being a whole dream. And he was really just dealing with it inside the mental ward. And he's inside this mental ward, and we find out that Stephen Grant was actually a character from a movie that he watched called Tomb Buster. And I'm thinking, why we getting these clues? And Layla is a girl that's there. Everybody, we see the dude who was in the tomb, who was tortured, was an orderly at that place, right? So that's something that's different. So now we're seeing things come together. Mark, he goes to Harold, and Harold is the psychiatrist for the mental hospital, and he's telling him like, hey, you ready to talk today? Where's your mind at today? He's leading questions to see where he at, and Mark is like, you're evil, this is fake, I need to get out of here, right? That's his whole demeanor during this time. So he's like, and then like throughout the room, you see Egyptian artifacts and memorabilia that's in there. And you see the I don't know, man, there's just a lot you see that he's taking in, and he tries to escape. And then the lighting of the room, the lighting inside the ward is not the same throughout. Like, first it was fluorescent lights, and then it's this ball, like Middle Eastern lights. Like, that was crazy. And then he finds the sarcophagus, and the yelling in the sarcophagus was crazy, right? He opens it up, and it's Stephen. And what happens? They hug each other. Wait a minute, what is going on here, right? They're hugging each other? Oh, I thought there were aspects of one's mind subconsciously, not like actually, right? That joke was crazy. They hug each other, and then they're like, look, we gotta get out of here. They're running, they're trying to escape these orderlies, and then this giant hippo god, she does sound attractive though. she's like, hello there, right? And that's how the episode ends, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs. Now, for me, I haven't looked up anything, right? But one, knowing that Thor is real, then we have Love and Thunder coming up, and they're going to Olympus. And in the comics, the Egyptian gods were gods. I mean, they were living beings from another dimension that have this long history with Earth. And one thing I'm trying to figure out, if they're gonna tie that in to that's their actual, backstory or actuality of who they are. But yes, that was just an amazing cliffhanger, and I had to get that out. I had to talk about that, of how that episode ended in such a way where it changed the whole dynamic and pacing of the show, where you think it's one thing and then it became another. And to me, with the whole different mental shift of being reality, what's shifting in between, reality or what's fake. And it reminded me a lot of Fight Club. It really did, when the narrator of Edward Norton's character, this is a spoiler for a 25-year-old movie, but it just reminded me your whole world shattered when knowing that two aspects of your personality or the life that you live in just intertwine, and you don't know what's real or fake, and you have to come to grips with that that you aren't living on stable ground, right? That jump was crazy. It was crazy to me. It was amazing. And they ran into a hippo god. And what thing is, first, I think that would be shocking for anybody. But they've been rocking around with a skull, like a bird skull man, that they can see frequently, right? So I don't think how this hippo woman is too much out of the ordinary. But that's the thing that happened. So far, definitely loving the show. And the thing is, I'm not crazy about Moon Knight. As a comic book character, I haven't delved deep into his world. For me to read, the comics, as I said, I've always stated it, I've only liked him when he's been off of other people. When he just shows up. He showed up with Spider-Man, he shows up with the Avengers, when he shows up with these other characters, I like him then. And I'm he's always a cool character, but I never felt compelled to fully read into the comics. So for me to watch this show and how it's being molded in the way that it is, I'm very enthused. I'm very enthused, and I'm liking it a lot. So hopefully I can get Couch Guy back, and we can finish out the discussion for episode 5 and 6.
So let us know how you feel down below in the comments.
Yeah.
And we can touch on that when we have the next coffee talk about episode 3.
Yeah, but with all that being said, we're liking the show right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring this video to an end. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about Moon Knight. Let us give us some history about Moon Knight.
Right.
Because we don't really deal with them like that.
Right.
And we'll be happy to read them. And Couch Guy, he hollers back at everybody.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I'll be so happy that y'all be commenting and y'all be really putting y'all opinions in there and everything,
So,
y'all rocking with the Brewsters. So Couch Dog, if I see you, I'm gonna say what's up.
Yeah, we make it work.
Yeah.
But we're gonna bring this video to an end, and we want you to be, oh my God, be you to you. See the picture of a fantastic day, because you deserve it. This is that channel. Be my hero.